And this is the news on NTA International. My name is Frama, Panyi, and Shegun Ajayi is the sign language interpreter. You're welcome. And just so you know, you can watch this news on our various social media platforms displayed on your screen. Let's begin with the headlines. Earlier adjourned Federal Executive Council meeting holds with President Bola Tinubu presiding. Amidst foreign exchange volatility, EFCC seeks Security and Exchange Commission to sanitize forex market. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken assures Ukraine of more weapons as Russia presses on with its new offensive in northeastern Kharkiv region. Now, the federal government says it is fine-tuning plans on a policy to facilitate partnership with the private sector in order to generate improved funding for general infrastructure with particular focus on the housing sector development. This was part of the resolutions at the conclusion of the 11th meeting of the Federal Executive Council this Tuesday. State House correspondent Musbawa Wahab will bring us the details of this report later. And African First Ladies under the auspices of Organizations of African First Ladies for Development, OFLAD, have expressed a strong resolve to push the frontiers of Pan-Africanism and solidarity for the development of the continent. This was at a farewell reception organized for visiting First Ladies after the successful launch of the We Are All Equal campaign in the country. Appreciating them for their show of support and solidarity during the launch, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu says the passion they share for the well-being of their people will eventually help Africa to realize its full potential.
I think that if we come together, as everyone else has said, united, we can do a lot for our women and children, especially that.
Sharing her optimism, some of her sisters note that the OFLAD as a platform, they can do more to drive positive change on the continent. During a guided tour conducted by their host, the visiting First Ladies encountered Nigeria's cultural ambience at its finest and expressed their desire to visit the country soon. President William Ruto has called on the newly sworn-in High Court judges to serve the people of Kenya with integrity. Uche Ugochukwu reports that the president gave the charge after they took the oath of office at the State House, Nairobi.
Helen Rafaela,
Judge of the High Court, do swear.
The president noted that the new judges maintaining integrity by being firm and rejecting corruption is a way to sustain the credibility of the judiciary as well as all public institutions, and the only way they can give Kenyans the full promise of the Constitution.
We have a strong interest in an effective and efficient judiciary because our nation's economy and security and the people's rights and freedom depend on it.
Ruto added that they must also remain alive to Articles 10 and 159 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the solemn oath they have taken.
I am happy that the establishment of small claims courts across the country has brought justice closer to the people and resulted in a significant increase in the number of resolved cases.
President Ruto further called for collaboration across all arms of government to advance the country's national interests. He urged them to appreciate and support each other's work without compromising constitutional principles. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Kyiv on Tuesday in an unannounced visit to assure Ukraine of continued American support and the flow of much-needed weapons as Russia presses on with its new offensive in the northeastern Kharkiv region. Again, Uche Ugochukwu has more.
This marks Antony Blinken's fourth visit to Kyiv since the start of the Russian invasion in 2022. The visit comes just weeks after the U.S. Congress finally approved a $61 billion package of financial aid for Ukraine after months of political altercations, unlocking much-needed arms for the country's stretched troops. The aid is expected to flow at an accelerated pace as Washington seeks to make up for the lost months while Congress struggles to agree on assistance.
The decision on the package was crucial for us. It's very important to get it as quick as possible. And the second point is air defense, the biggest deficit for us.
The assistance is now on the way. Some of it's already arrived. More of it will be arriving. And that's going to make a real difference against the ongoing Russian aggression on the battlefield. And we're determined, along with many other partners for Ukraine, to make sure that you succeed on the battlefield.
In addition to holding talks with Zelensky, Blinken met with his counterpart Dmytro Kuleba as well as members of the civil society. Up for discussion also is a bilateral defense agreement that the United States hopes to conclude before the NATO summit in Washington in July. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Togo's Constitutional Court has rejected the opposition appeals over last month's disputed legislative elections and confirms the provisional results that declared President for Nyasengbe ruling party win an overwhelming majority. Let's hear again once more from Uche Ugochukwu.
Constitutional Court President Jobo Babakane Coulibaly announced Nasibe's union for the Republic Party won 108 of the 113 parliamentary seats at its headquarters in the capital Lome, while opposition parties won the other 5 seats in the April 29 election. The provisional results had been published early this month amid mounting political tensions after the adoption of a contested constitutional reform. The court found that, on the whole, voting operations took place in conformity with procedures set out by the Electoral Code. Court President Coulibaly said the court rejected all appeals lodged by the opposition. On Sunday, the coalition of opposition parties and civil society organizations complained that the court had ruled on the appeals barely 3 days after they were lodged and accused the court of playing a partisan role. Opposition parties have condemned the reform, which they say will allow Nasimbe to extend his already nearly 2-decade rule. It moves the West African country from a presidential to a parliamentary system, rendering the presidency a largely ceremonial post elected by lawmakers. Power shifts to the newly created position of President of the Council of Ministers, meaning Nasimbe can assume the new post as head of the Union for the Republic Party. Under the old constitution, he could have only run one more time as president in 2025. Nasimbe has won 4 elections after his father's death in 2005. His father ruled before him for nearly 40 years. The opposition, however, dismissed the legislative elections as an electoral masquerade. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And ECOWAS is positioning its member states to tap into the $9 trillion global tourism sector. To this end, key players in the region are meeting in Abuja to evaluate the existing protocol on tourism with a view to fine-tuning it to meet global standards. Kelvin Ebunwaye reports.
The global tourism sector is a $9 trillion gold mine. Africa accounts for only 5% of the sector, with only few countries in West Africa having a thriving tourism system. This meeting of experts on monitoring and evaluation of the mechanism on EcoTour 19 to 29 seeks to change that and place the region in a firm position to attract much of the funds available in the sector for economic growth.
Last year, in 2023, the member states adopted a new regulation about hotel grading and classification. And in this regulation, we have a regional mechanism to control how we classify and grade our hotels in the region.
Time for us as a region in ECOWAS to collaborate, not to compete, to enter joint marketing, joint training campaigns. The success of Africa is pan-African. It's Africans helping Africans. Don't wait for anybody anymore. This is the beginning to it.
Good for member states to also create an enabling environment for the tourism sector to boom in terms of energy. You need that tax moratorium.
The meeting also recognizes that member states are not equally endowed in terms of tourism potential, but a harmonized document to guide the operations and practices in the region is believed to hold the key to unlocking the huge funds and investment in countries still struggling to develop their tourism sector. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
And as Nigeria's drive towards enhancing power supply for socio-economic development of the nation through nuclear energy technology intensifies, reaching its final phase, key organizations are being enlightened of their roles and responsibilities during the development of nuclear power plant. The Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission, in collaboration with the International Atomic Energy Agency, is carrying out this enlightenment following the establishment of an integrated work plan for the NPP infrastructure development. And this involves the development of 19 infrastructure issues necessary for the safe and sustainable operation of the nuclear power plant.
I think Nigeria is at a stage of now going full-fledged into nuclear power. We want to introduce nuclear power plants into the electricity mix of Nigeria. However, we felt there is need for us to call all the key stakeholders from the Ministry of Power, from the industry, from the electricity regulators, from the transmission companies, distribution companies, and also the industries that are going to supply the materials, the equipment, the facilities required for the nuclear power projects. We want to bring everybody together and inform them how far we are in our roadmap to implementation of nuclear power. The Federal Ministry of Power is playing a key role in this meeting today because as part of their strategic plan of 30-30-30, the nuclear power is to be introduced to support the nuclear program, or to support the electricity program of Nigeria.
Amid irregularities in financial transactions leading partly to the free fall of the Naira, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is reaching out to the Security and Exchange Commission with a view to ensuring sanity in the marketplace. Benny Adams has details.
Given the recent development, the issue of forest malpractices, the crisis in our economy and all of that, the role that some of these players in virtual trading is playing in destroying the economy, I feel it's important for us to work together to see how we can nip this in the bud before the thing totally collapses our economy.
It is a meeting between an enforcer and a market regulator. Here, the EFCC believes best results are gotten when enforcers and regulators collaborate to ensure compliance to rules of business. For the new man at the helms of affairs at the Securities and Exchange Commission, he is on a speed dial towards addressing issues around illegal forex trading on virtual platforms, compliance to market regulations in the equities market, among other issues. He says, aside collaborations with key stakeholders like the EFCC, there is the urgent need for legislative reviews of some of the regulations.
I was excited about the National Confiscation Wallet because all of the things you have confiscated is hanging in limbo. Not unless you have that, which is like our bank, to put it in, we can't. And of course, if we want to dispose of it, it has to come out of that National Confiscation Wallet. It can't come out from the individual, the wallet. So this is critical and it's important that we are able to achieve it. If for that reason we are able to get the law passed in 15 days, That's good.
As part of the reform processes, the Securities and Exchange Commission recently issued new rules on issuance and allotment of private company securities, with penalties for defaulters attached. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
And you're watching the news on NTA International. It's time to take a break. Do stay. Now, investors in the Nigerian solid minerals sector will no longer travel million miles to access information in the industry, but can get the needed data at their fingertips. This is the reality as the Minister of Solid Minerals Development launches the Nigerian Minerals Resource Decision Support System software in Abuja. Mie Ogidi reports.
To launch this Nigerian Minerals Resources Decision Support System,
Nigerian Minerals Resource Decision Support System software unveiled. A marketing strategy in the ease of doing business in Nigeria. The chief driver of the ministry, Dele Alake, optimistic, the software softens the process for data acquisition.
with a click of a button, you can access all the information that you require to make an informed decision or informed investment judgment in the sector.
I am convinced that the solid mineral sector will not just be an alternative to the oil and gas sector, but the solid mineral sector will be a real big deal because that's what's coming up.
Dr. Dele Alake is one of the best ministers we could always pray for. So we invested more than $250 million so that we can be able to employ, we can be able to fix our GDP, we can be able to sort all our problems. In this country, we have everything.
The software helps users navigate the diverse geological terrain of the solid minerals industry in Nigeria. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
The House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values has visited the Nigerian Television Authority, describing the infrastructural and technological development in the NTA as massive and encouraging. Ignatius Onko has more on the oversight visit.
Arrival of members of the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values at the Nigerian Television Authority on parliamentary oversight. Straight on arrival, committee members were taken round the studios and other ultra-modern broadcasting facilities. The Director General explained that they were achieved from the organization's meager resources. Inside the boardroom, the executive legislative engagement took off, with the Director General of NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, ruling out budget performances of the organization in the 2023 and 2024 fiscal year.
2024 performance. For capital, we have 894,242,813 naira, and no release so far.
The Director General emphasized the need for improved funding to enable the organization carry out its project, especially the digitization of its broadcast equipment, completion of its corporate headquarters, and the maintenance of community and state capital stations.
During the year 2023, we were able to move some of our operations from the former premises to the permanent site with little resources available, just like I have highlighted during our tour of some of our facilities. The challenges that we have been confronted, Honorable Chairman and Honorable Members, are basically paucity of form. You will agree with me that NTA is scattered across the country. As it is, we have more than 100 stations, operational stations. And we also in battle or bedeviled with obsolete equipment and the changes in technology.
And at your time, you've been able to put this place together to the level that it has found itself. We want to equally, on behalf of the chairman, congratulate you.
The parliamentary committee acknowledged what it described as huge progress made by the NTA management with its mega resources. It advised ministries, departments and agencies of government to always pay NTA for its services to enable it serve the nation better.
See the environment, I listen to you without appreciating you and commending you for good work, work well done. That you must be commended.
With the very little resources you have, you'll be able to keep the place very neat and moving. It's quite encouraging. Not many government offices you go, you have this environment. As an architect, I'm very particular about what I say.
There shouldn't be any free service to any agency. There should be communication. Any agency that is inviting you to cover their program, there should be a kind of correspondence to that effect. Let them know. You buy diesel, you buy petrol and the rest to move your vehicle down and your personnel that are going to work.
This is the committee's first oversight visit to the Nigerian Television Authority and plans to extend its visit to NTA stations across the country. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And now to the judiciary sector. The arraignment of the immediate past Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, and his brother by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, before a High Court of Federal Capital Territory has been stalled. This was due to the fact that Sirika and his brother, Ahmed Sirika, who is the second defendant, were absent in court to answer to an 8-count charge bordering on alleged contract forgery and abuse of office. When proceedings commenced on Tuesday, the prosecution counsel, Oluwaleke Atolagbe, told the court that the defendants were not within jurisdiction and that they have not been served with the charge. He therefore asked the court for an adjournment to enable the commission to serve the defendants and see that they are produced in court. The defense lawyer, Olani Anjorin, aligned himself with the submissions of the prosecution counsel. The trial judge, Justice Suleiman Belgore, therefore adjourned to May 23, 2024, for arraignment of the defendants in the matter. Also joined in the suit as a co-defendant is Ahmed's firm, Enigos Nigeria Limited, which got the alleged contracts. And security experts are calling for timely information to tackle the increasing cases of crime and criminality in the Federal Capital Territory. At a one-day conference of stakeholders organized by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution in partnership with the Global Peace Foundation, participants agreed that the collaboration between the people and relevant agencies will go a long way to address the challenge. David Ayre reports.
Rising criminal activities, especially one-chance operations, kidnapping and robbery, has become major concern to residents of the FCT. The federal government is concerned by this development, which is gradually eroding the nightlife in the city, hence this conference to nip the menace in the bud.
For us, in government, we are particularly concerned with the security, because that is, you have to have security before you can have investors to come and invest in your country. And without investment, there could be no employment, there could be no growth, economic growth and development.
But we can take out the bad guys out of business if we work collectively, both government and non-government. We need that cooperation, we need that collaboration, and partnership to ensure that we take the bad people out of this business and ensure that whatever policies and agenda of the government we have, will come to fruition, for the benefit of everybody in the society.
Nigerians also agreed that the security agencies cannot be left alone in the business of protecting lives and property.
It's for everybody. Do your own little part and let us get the intelligence or necessary information that will enable us to work better for good service delivery, that will make our people to sleep with their two eyes closed.
Now the voices are coming out. People will hear. The power of saying and hearing. So these are strategies we believe that the effort towards controlling and stopping this insecurity has to do with mobilizing the people, uniting the people, and making the people speak against it.
Promoting collective responsibility for the peace and security in Abuja is the theme of the one-day dialogue. In Abuja, David Ayre, NTA News.
The federal government and key players have reiterated the need for collaborative efforts and funding for Nigeria to achieve the target of the Sustainable Urban and Rural Water Supply Sanitation and Hygiene Program, SureWash, at the state level. Usman Zuberi reports that this came to the fore at a one-day stakeholders forum held in Abuja.
Which is being piloted in 8 states
would help provide 6 million people with basic drinking water and 1.4 access to sanitation. Designed by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, supported with $700 million credit from the World Bank. It will deliver improved water, sanitation and hygiene services to 2,000 schools and healthcare facilities, as well as assist 500 communities to achieve the open defecation-free status.
We are trying to organize and make sure that we bring out all the areas that are making the state, making it difficult for the state to get these results, so that we can acknowledge it and then we can probably put an end to that challenges.
Inventory of what we have done so far, I think we are not doing too badly, even though there's room for improvement.
Currently, the program is in the third year with only 3 of the pilot states recording 100% implementation. Stakeholders at the forum says there is need for participating states to be proactive and committed to the goals of the program.
We need a lot of commitment, we need a lot of hard work, we need these things to happen. I see.
It was agreed that states have a crucial role in driving the program through the provision of adequate funding and strengthening water institutions at the state level. So it is expected that they leverage on the opportunity the sustainable urban-rural water sanitation and hygiene program offers. Smoswell, NTA News.
And before we go, let's take a quick look at Wednesday's weather prospects in Nigeria and other parts of the world. And this is where we end the news. We thank you for being a part of it. My name is Frama Panyi, and Shegun Ajayi has been the sign language interpreter.